Good morning, everybody. Let me fix this. Here we go. That's it. All right, good morning. If you're watching, please drop a comment. Tell me how your week is going. You can drop a comment with an emoji. If you're watching the replay, you can do a hashtag replay. I am just going to share this over here on my page. So I have been putting these on my personal page because that makes them shareable. So if you are, here we go. It's really weird to see yourself like on the screen when you're doing this because it makes them shareable. So that way, if you want to share them with friends, I know I've had a lot of people trying to do that from my group, and it makes them private in the group because the group's private. So I'm just sharing them with my other groups, and that works. So please feel free to share this. You can comment, you can ask questions. I love to answer questions. So hopefully you're doing really well this morning, and now I can get started. All right. Hey Amber, how are you? I'm gonna see you later, girl. So this morning and this week, really, we've been talking a little bit about getting into that place of your heart, that place of love and self-love. And something that I was thinking about the other day was that the fact that we have all these like sort of prerequisites for like what we think we need to have in order to feel worthy or to feel love or feel happiness or whatever it is that you want to connect to. And that is where fear comes in. We talked yesterday about fear and how like we can choose love or we can choose fear. And a lot of us are just so conditioned to choose fear because it's how we grew up and it's how we just kind of learn to cope. And we have to retrain ourselves to be able to find that way of choosing love, of turning towards love, as if we're turning towards the sun. And so I was thinking of this, and as I was thinking of it, I was like, oh, this is a very Brene Brown sort of topic, right? She talks about being vulnerable, being okay with not being perfect, right? And so, so I kind of like wrote a little bit about it. And then this morning before I was getting ready, I was like, I looked over at my bookcase and I saw like it was like shining at me. It was like, oh, the gifts of imperfection. So I just grabbed it and I wanted to share a little bit about, so if you don't know who Brene Brown is, she's a social psychologist. I think she's a social psychologist. I honestly don't know. Yeah, she's psychologist. And she talks a lot about vulnerability, about, really finding that, like, how do you let yourselves really be open? This book is called The Gifts of Imperfection, and it's let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. All right, so there's your guide to a wholehearted life. I read this a long time ago. I remember getting it actually at my church in New Jersey, so I must have gotten it probably like 12 or some odd years ago. So if you don't know who she is, look her up, watch her TED Talks. They're really inspiring, and she really helps you to really think about these things of like, how do we close ourselves off? How do we, instead of choosing fear, how do we choose love, that openness? And I wanted to read this little section that in her book that talks about the challenge of feeling worthy of love. Because I think a lot of us don't. When we say self-love, it's like, I don't need that love, right? I can give it to someone else, right? But when we give that love to ourselves, then we can really allow ourselves to really fully and authentically give to others. And that is really important because we start to learn the boundaries, the balance there. Otherwise, you get burnt out. And I think a lot of us are finding that now during this time that, we're in the middle of this pandemic, of everything going on. And it's exhausting, right? And if you're not taking the time to take care of yourself and remember that you're worthy of love and you're worthy of 20 minutes of your time to do whatever it is, whether it's meditating or taking a bath or just reading a book, that you will start to feel that the effects of that burnout. So here's what Brene says. Sorry, all right. Here's what she says. Good morning, Beth. Morning, Matthew. All right. So the greatest challenge for most of us is believing that we are worthy now, right this minute. Worthiness doesn't have prerequisites. I love that. Like, it doesn't, right? So many of us have knowingly created, unknowingly allowed been handed down a long list of worthiness prerequisites. So maybe you have some prerequisites. I like some of these on here. I'll be worthy when I lose 20 pounds. I'll be worthy if I can get pregnant. I'll be worthy if I can get or stay sober. I'll be worthy if everyone thinks I'm a good parent. Everyone thinks I'm a good parent. I'll be worthy when I can make a living selling my art. I'll be worthy if I can hold my marriage together. I'll be worthy when I can make partner or exceed at my job. I'll be worthy when my parents finally approve. I'll be worthy if he calls me back and asks me out. I'll be worthy when I can do it all and look like I'm not even trying. Okay, so raise your hand if you're one of those people that's like, when I feel like I can do everything and it looks like I'm not even trying. I feel like that is like social media, like in a nutshell, right? We're doing everything and we're trying to make it look like we're not trying. And I'm here to tell you that I try really effing hard. And not because I just want to try really hard, but because work, like life is very hard. But I also try to make a very big point of showing that, right? I think that's an important thing that we need to share is share the hard, share that tough stuff on Facebook, because we all have these, I think Facebook, social media, Instagram, whatever it is that you're looking at, it shows us this side that looks like it didn't take any effort for it to be perfect like that. But we all know that it takes a lot of effort and that there's a lot of moments where you're crying on the floor to get to that point where it looks picture perfect. So remember that, right? That is not a prerequisite for you to be worthy of love, to be worthy of taking care of yourself, to be worthy of receiving. So as we breathe today, this morning, we're going to think about that, right? Letting yourself soften, letting yourself release a little bit, so that you can remember. And we talked a little bit about that yesterday, remembering to come back, right? Remembering that you have that love deep within you. And I think it's really, 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 really important to remember that it's a practice, right? So we're going to forget, and then we're going to have a moment where it's like, oh yeah. And that's the good moment. That's the moment where you get that like warm, fuzzy feeling, right? And then you can come back. Right, and sometimes we need to do it a million times. In fact, our whole life is going to be that practice, unless you're like sitting on top of a mountain having this like perfection moment. Most of us aren't going to get there. Even me, okay? I get up every single morning and meditate, and some days I sit there and I'm like, oh, motherfucker, like, why can't I do this, right? And then other days I sit and I'm like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. Right, so it's never that like consistently perfect thing, right? There's always going to be that work, but it's in that remembering that we come back. It's in that remembering that we remember our worthiness and we can connect to that place of our heart. So let's just take a big stretch here. Stretch out. You may have over these last few weeks kind of rounded your shoulders a little bit more, maybe sat on the computer or watched too much Netflix, just kind of curled up. So give yourself some space here to really open, to really broaden. Good. And then come on out and roll your shoulders onto your back and just sit back now. So if you can sit back in your chair. You can sit up nice and tall and find that comfortable seat so that you can really turn within, that you can really, really be present. And just think about your list of prerequisites, right? We all have them. I have conversations with people all the time, and there's so many like, I'll be so much better when I lose whatever, or I'll be so much better when we get through this, right? But we can feel that goodness, we can feel that worthiness, that love right now. So think about those prerequisites that you have, no matter where you got them from. If you made them up, if you're finding them from like social media, or maybe you're getting them from your family. I like that she kind of mentioned like they were passed down to you, right? Maybe it was just something that your parents talked about and that it's in the back of your mind, and you have to find a way to acknowledge it and then just place it down so that you can breathe and you can be with what you have now, with that worthiness. So close your eyes. And as each one of those little prerequisites comes up, just see if you can start to soften. See if you can start to release. Acknowledge them. We never want to ignore, right? We want to acknowledge what's there. And as you acknowledge what's there, then just allow yourself to say, okay, I'm going to put this down for a minute. I'm going to place it over here. I'm going to see what happens when I dig a little deeper. And as you breathe and as you dig, feel yourself becoming more expansive on the inside. And then softening on the outside with your exhale. Big inhale. And big exhale. Just noticing. Allowing yourself the space to not just give, but also to receive. To move into that place of worthiness. That place of self-love. Recognizing that you are worthy of that time, of that pause. You're worthy of taking time to slow down and to just be with your thoughts and with your breath and with whatever it is that comes up. And maybe you start to feel something release here. Know that it's okay to cry as you connect to something like this. It's okay to feel yourself start to soften, to become a little more vulnerable. And just allow yourself that space. Take another deep breath here. Good. And then as you come back, you can just start to bring a little movement back into your body. Move your shoulders, your fingers, your toes. Maybe take a big stretch. Slowly coming back to whatever you've got today, right? Move your head, move your arms. Good. And then just come back for a moment and bring your hands in front of your heart and just remember, right? Remember what you have. Remember who you are. Remember that connection to love that is deep within you. And we honor this practice. We honor the fact that we can just pause even for 5 minutes whenever you watch this, right? To really take care of you. And so it might overflow into all the areas of your lives. I bow to you. Namaste. I hope to see you guys soon. You can check out my schedule on NicoleTromYoga.com and also on Facebook, Om at Home with Nicole Trom. So hopefully I will see you all soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.